I'm Lauren Lola. I'm with the Nerds of Color. Good to see you again.
Hey Lauren, nice to see you again.
Yeah. Congrats on the Bad Batch. I'm so sad that it's ending. Um,
You too.
I think last time we spoke, I mentioned how Omega is very similar to Ahsoka and Ezra in terms of being like a young perspective and a show with many other more experienced folks around him. Um, but unlike Ahsoka and Ezra, she doesn't exactly have the same journey of having to become more, I guess, sorry, I'm blanking out here, but like becoming more mature over time. She's a medical assistant when we first meet her. How would you describe Omega's overall journey throughout the series?
I mean, I think in season three, there has been a little bit of like time growth. She it's we see it in that, her hair is longer, but she's been kept in a facility that's essentially like she's in a prison cell, like solitary confinement. And she's witnessing essentially like medical torture. So there are like quite dark things that, would have not made as much sense to her in the beginning, but now upon witnessing that she can understand its injustice and it completely fires her up to be like, my mission is to free my brothers and take down this facility. Um, but in general, I think there's just this confidence because she's separated from her brothers for quite a bit of the beginning of the season, and she's only got herself to rely on. And she gets to reunite with Crosshair, but he's a bit worse for wear. So she's the one who's having to figure out how to survive and how to keep everyone alive. So she's kind of, yeah, she's has to be a little bit self-reliant in the beginning. And that's only able to happen because of everything that she went through in season two, um, with the Bad Batch.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad that you noticed the parallels too of kind of being in a similar position to how she was in the beginning of the series, where she's confined to a single place. But because of how much she's experienced within that time, you're right, she has become a lot more reliant, which is really impressive to see of her despite the circumstances. Although season three hasn't come out yet on Disney Plus, I know that it has to have been a while since you last, recorded for Omega. What have you missed since you wrapped up recording for her?
Well, it's so weird, right? Because we didn't know we were going to get a season three. So we were like, yeah, season three. And then we were told, obviously, it was season three, but it's the last. And we're like, oh. So there's a real somberness of like, as we edged closer to the last episode, it was this like bittersweet realization, like this is the third to last, this is the second to last. And you're so intuitive. Yeah, we recorded this, we finished recording this like almost a year ago, I want to say. So it's
Oh,
been, or maybe at
wow.
least half a year. Yeah. And we got to do that together in LA for the last episode, which was really helpful emotionally, both from a performance point of view and also just as closure as a person, ending the journey with the other collaborators. But it was kind of weird because after the big recording, we always have pickups, right? So then we said our goodbyes, but then back in New Zealand, I'd have to do like a Zoom thing for a little pickup. So I'd see everyone again. And to be honest, it's like there's been a bit of a sustained resonance of talking about Omega and remembering her because now we're getting to share the series with people like yourselves and then shortly with like the whole world and the audience. So I feel like it won't really hit home that she's completed for me until the series airs, I guess. Although
Mhm.
I hope that there will be opportunity to get to meet people at a convention maybe in the future or keep talking about her in some way. But yeah, I'm already missing the recording sessions where I got to, work with Dee and the director and voice her.
Yeah. Yeah. And something tells me there will be plenty of opportunities to talk about her more in the future. To be mindful of time, I do need to wrap up. Michelle, thank you again so much. Congrats on the Bad Batch and may the force be with you.
Thanks, Lauren. It was so lovely to see you again. Hope you enjoy the season.
Yeah, thank
Hi,
you. Hi, Brad. I'm Lauren Lola from the Nerds of Color. Good to see you two again.
How you doing?
Yeah. I just spoke with Michelle right before this, and I think she kind of accidentally answered my first question meant for you two, which is, at one point, did you decide for the third season to be the last season of The Bad Batch? Jennifer, can we start with you?
Well, early on in the development of season one, we had hoped that we could tell this story in 3 seasons, but we weren't sure that we would get that. So it wasn't until at a point in season two that we knew we would get a third and final season, which was exciting for us because then we got to finish the story the way we had wanted to and intended, and felt like it was a very satisfying end to the series.
Yeah, that's good to know. Brad, anything to add to it?
I mean, just to echo what Jen's saying, I mean, it's a big deal when we went going into season three that very early on we knew that was going to be the last season, so that we could wrap up the mysteries that we wanted the way we wanted, leave the ones unresolved that we wanted, and really just honor these characters and our whole cast and crew that's been on this journey. It was pretty spectacular.
That's good to know. Yeah, I mean, like I haven't seen all of the third season yet, but already I can get just for why it is 3 seasons long, because it kind of like how there will be 3 films for each of the trilogies.
Right.
Already just from my scene of this season, it's been very tonally dark. And I've no idea what's up ahead. But without spoiling anything, what do you two hope for audiences to take away from this season in particular? Brad, maybe you could start with this one.
Sure. I mean, it does get dark. The story just is going that way. This dark time where the Empire is practically unbeatable. We talk a lot about our characters as a family, and that they're all different, but they can overcome those differences to help each other out, to defend each other. There's a theme of letting go and forgiveness that's through this season. It's really, anytime we talk about this final season, it gets huge and epic in scope and scale, but it's really those character interactions that mean the most to us, that we hope the fans come away with that same feeling that we have.
Nice. And Jennifer, what about you?
I will say that even in early season three, when you have Crosshair and Omega confined on Tantus, and it's a dark time for them, they're leaning on each other. And same for Hunter and Wrecker when they're trying to find them, and they've spent countless rotations, and they're failing, and they can't find her. They're leaning on each other. So that is a takeaway for the whole show, is that life is about change and ups and downs and wins and losses, but it's counting on one another and supporting people and helping as many as you can along the way. That's really important and at the heart of our show.
Yeah, and it's very centered on this found family unit that has been through a lot and has really had to really adapt to the circumstances thrown at them. So I definitely understand where you two are coming from on that. Those are all the questions I have for you two. So thank you so much. Congratulations on the conclusion of The Bad Batch, and may the force be with you.
Thank you.
You too.
The activist directors, comments and the lectures, fanboys, professional artists and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah, pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.